news about it or read about the Muskegon Heights public school academy system? Have you wondered what's really going on in Muskegon Heights? If you've answered yes to any of those questions, if you haven't heard of the Muskegon Heights system but wondered what all of the hype is about, this talk is for you. I'm so glad that you're here because we want you to know the real story. I'll invite you to join along with me on a journey. It started off in 2011. In 2011, unbeknownst to the community, to the students, to the staff members, a dark cloud was coming over Muskegon Heights. And not just the city, but the school district. Oh yeah, this dark cloud was coming because of 3 reasons. The first was because it was in a huge financial deficit. This deficit was growing every single day, and it was into the millions. The second reason was because it was in an academic struggling situation. They had been named the bottom in the state on all the state assessments, and the high school, it was at the very bottom. And then there was the fact that they had just lost their leader. The superintendent had left, and Dave Sipka, the intermediate school district superintendent, had to take on the role of leader of this 4-square-mile district. And when he got there, he saw that not only had the effect of all of these things affected the community, but because of the lack of funding, he found graffiti on the walls, broken windows, and even water fountains that should have been prepared for our babies to drink out of, covered in trash bags, all due to those 3 sources. It was very quick that the district realized that they had to do something, and they had to do something quite fast. They decided, as the board worked with Mr. Sipka and their attorneys, they decided that they would call the state. The state really took a look at the situation, and in February 2012, our Governor Rick Snyder appointed an emergency financial manager to the district. This was unprecedented. At the time, most school districts weren't under emergency financial management. What would this look like? He could break all kinds of contracts. What was going on in Muskegon Heights? Well, he started doing some kind of negotiating, and he tried to throw out all kinds of ideas, but to no avail. But all the while, our students were the ones suffering. They're the ones in class watching their teachers stressed out. They didn't know what to do. What once had been a strong pillar in the community as a school, they didn't know what would happen. Teachers started taking off. Subs were in classrooms every day. It wasn't just poor education going on. It was no education in many circumstances. And so after a lot of attempts, the emergency manager decided he was going to do something that was unprecedented, something that had not happened for sure in Michigan, and some say across the United States. He would offer up an RFP, a response for a proposal, to any charter management company that could meet the requirements. The requirements were pretty stringent. So there were 3 companies that put in bids. The first company, Leona Group, well, they had just had a school in Muskegon County that closed. Nobody felt comfortable and confident in that. And then there was Mosaic Education, Inc. Although they were a for-profit company, they had worked with students in poverty. They had transformed some school buildings, so the confidence was put there. And that's where I come in the picture. Mosaic Education contacted me. I've been doing reform work on the other side of the state. When they contacted me, I started reading the articles, and I said, are you kidding me? Who would want to go there? But then after much prayer and much deliberation, and after my son made me recognize that, yeah, I had a job, but you can really go there, he told me, and leave a legacy. So my husband and I packed up. We stayed just across the street for a long time at the Shoreline Inn, and we decided we would come. But not without concern and not without some trepidation, because it was July 9th, 2012. They had closed an entire school district. There were no staff members. There were no students. And they wanted us to start in 7 weeks? Are you kidding? You've got to be kidding me. This cannot be real. You really want us to start this district in 7 weeks? And to boot, you mean to tell me there's 44 pages of building repairs that we can do before we can even get certificates of occupancy? You got to be kidding. But there were some strong people. The Alumni Association, they were there. You had some community members who were there. And they said they really wanted to retain a school district in Muskegon Heights. They talked about how important this job was, that it was a mission. And so we rolled up our sleeves. We rolled up our sleeves and we took that 7 weeks. And on September 3rd, 2012, we had 120 staff members, and some are in the audience. And over 1,000 students were there on count day. Oh, I can tell you the first day of school how excited I was. I was so excited the media was there. It was joy. Joy to the community that we did it. We did what everybody said couldn't happen. We started the school district in Muskegon Heights. We had what they had there. Their pride was back. They didn't lose their schools. We were there. We were proud. We were open. But just as quick as that pride came, and 4 buildings were open for learning wasn't taking place. Oh, no, because I hadn't realized that we had invaded into a space that we hadn't been invited to by everybody. The kids were looking at us like, who are you? You think you heard that there was fights in Muskegon Heights every day? No, there was fights every single hour. The police were called on a daily basis. We hadn't realized what rift it would be. It wasn't just the Muskegon Heights kids. It was kids from other districts, other places who had been kicked out, and we put them all together. We thought that this was going to be exciting and wonderful. And our kids were like, are you kidding? No, this is our school. Imagine this, the first day of school, the bell rings, and everybody's in the hall, including the kids. They didn't go out into the classroom. They wondered who we were. We had to build trust. Not only were there fights every hour, but even though we had 1,189 students there, less than half of them had their butts in a seat. They came in and when they wanted to and left out when they wanted to. They didn't think that we really cared about them. They didn't know if we were going to be around for a while. Not only that, you had community members looking at us after we tested the students, and many of them were over 5 years below in grade average. Many of the transcripts that were upperclassmen who had 5 or less credits. What were we going to do? I can tell you, I was crying. I was ready to pack my bags. I was staying at a hotel anyway. It was going to be real easy for me to go on home. But we had some people who reminded me. Glenn Metcalf is in the audience. Delricus and Terrence Stewart. Stacy Pallett, who had been a teacher in the district for over 15 years. Some folks who really believed in the district and told me that we had something great. Our board president, Arthur Scott, said, you know, this is a phenomenal opportunity. And I remembered, yes, greatness can come out of chaos. Yes, we have a mission to fulfill. We have a vision. So those people decided not only did they want an education, they wanted an education in their school district in Muskegon Heights, and it was important that we kept that in the forefront. We couldn't think about what was happening out of chaos right in front of us. We had to look to the future. We had to have a vision for this district, a vision for the students, a vision for the community. So we rolled up our sleeves once more. We got uniform security on top of the security we already had. We put cameras in every single classroom at the high school so we knew what was going on. Now we could focus on learning. The clouds were leaving. We could see light. People were starting to believe in Muskegon Heights again. The students, you could see them walking a little bit taller. They were a little bit prouder. And by June, those students did credit recovery. They stayed on Saturdays. They did what they had to do in that graduating class. Not only was it our inaugural, it was the 91st commencement ceremony for Muskegon Heights. They brought in the tradition. They wore their white dresses underneath those gowns. They wore their white stockings, and they had on their shoes. They were proud, and that graduation was full of community members who supported those kids. They were true tigers. Oh, boy, and they weren't just getting along and passing along, but those students had met those Michigan Merit curriculum. They were proud of what they did and the hard work. And that next year, we didn't have 48% attendance. We had over 90% attendance. The students believed in themselves. The police, and we had a good partnership with them. We weren't calling them. They were dropping by to check on us. And we had great community partners like United Way and Kids Food Basket. We were doing after-school programs and had professional development with our staff. And you would think, wow, is all that work worth it? Oh, yes, it was worth it. Because by the end of that second year, we had the most improved test scores in Muskegon County. Not only that, across the county, we had the highest growth on the MEP test. not just our internal tests, but on our state assessment. And we had aviation programs. We had 2 years growth at our secondary level. We had our boys and girls here who were in the audience doing robotics, the first robotics team in the history of Muskegon Heights. And in their first year in competition, were 179th out of 300. And I can tell you it was scary in that big old auditorium. I was there with them at Grand Valley. They were the only minority team. We've come a long way, baby. We've come a long way. But just as we thought things were going well, you would think that was the end of our story. But just as things were going well, over the summer we lost 3 of our tigers. 3 high school students died in a matter of 4 months. We separated from our management company, Mosaic Education. People thought the clouds were going to get dark again. But we had a true reform team there. We had some true leadership there who were skilled. The state of Michigan recognized this. They gave the opportunity to our school board, led by Arthur Scott as president, Carmela Elam vice president, and Stephen Parker as treasurer and secretary. The school board and myself as the superintendent were given a huge responsibility. We had to start up the new school district, and we did this. We hired the ISD as the business office. We hired Access Point to hire all of our staff, and we did it. We started on August 25th. We restored the roar. We brought this back, and success the only option. Thinking about our students, thinking about the future of our students as doctors, lawyers, chief of police. We did this envisioning, seeing it in full color. We had a dream. We're making that dream not only true but for Muskegon Heights, but for the whole city, for the whole county of Muskegon, for the whole country. The work that we're doing is not just for the kids in Muskegon Heights, but it's for the world. We want everyone to see that the work that we do with our students, starting with Shamaria Wilson as doctor, as she goes out to impact this community, we're giving them tools to impact the world. Thank you.